Hello, writerly people. I believe there are some writerly people out there in BookTube, and I am establishing a Writing Wednesday, trying to make a habit of it, not too successfully so far. I used to do this in 2018, and I'm doing it again now. So, last week I showed you some of my favorite prompt books, and this is one of them. This is actually my favorite of all prompt books. It is The Writer's Book of Days. And this week I did get back into this book, which is basically what I was trying to do was to get myself back into writing by doing some writing videos. And so I got back into this and I read a couple of the little articles in there and I wrote to a couple of the prompts. I would like ideally to do it every day. Sometimes that's impossible, but I did manage two prompts this week, and I also set up two notebooks. Now, this notebook is the one that I'm writing my stories in. So, on the first page, I wrote some motivational things. I'll read one of them to you. It says, "Forge ahead, no need to ask for instructions, and you don't need permission. Just write something, good or bad, failure or success, just put words on paper in a hopefully logical sequence. You can do it, you have done it before, you can do it again." And so, after giving myself this little pep talk, I wrote this first. I guess it's a little essay. Started out as a flash fiction and became a bit semi-autobiographical. And then the second one that I wrote was, that was the prompt, "Alone in Her Room." So the second prompt I had was, "He refuses all fear." And I had a vision of a man standing at the top of the cliff, and I wrote about what he was doing there, and it was just under 500 words, which is exactly what I was aiming for. I'm not going to read those to you today. I'm going to read something else in a few minutes. So the second notebook that I set up is my writer's notebook. I believe my other writer's notebooks were devoured by flames in 2020. And so I'm starting another one now. And the first thing I do is I put index pages. And so I numbered the first few pages from 1 to 160. And then I made some pages. Oh, what are they? Okay. This page is for good writing music. All that I have there for good writing music so far is Joshua Bell violin music. I love his music. And then this one is reading and writing and storytelling, etc. books. It's just a list of books that I like to use. And so that's my writer's notebook so far. So today I would like to show you my writing dice. I, not too long ago, purchased a lot of little writing games of various types, and this is called Writing Dice. This is one of the first ones that I purchased by a company called Two Tumbleweeds. And this is Inspiration for Creative Writing. Banish the blank page. And on the back it says, "The solution to writer's block. When faced with a blank page, it can be hard to know where to start. Whether you're an established writer or just want to find creativity through the written word, Writing Dice provides a thoughtful framework that will guide and inspire any type of creative writing, from stories and novels to screenplays and comics. With millions of combos, you're bound to encounter something that helps you find your flow. So roll the dice, write fearlessly. You never know what's inside until you try. And it has different types of dice in there. The green ones, the dark green ones, are for describing characters. And then the white one is a point of view. And orange is the conflict in the story. And yellow is time. Beige is place. And blue is theme. So I'm going to show them to you right now. And we will roll the dice. I have this little piece of cardboard to do it on. Oh, careful. Okay. So for character, why do I always get this one? Okay, never mind. For character, I have optimistic. Can you see that? Martyr complex, maybe. Privileged. Yep. And then point of view is antagonist. I'm going to write it from the point of view of the villain in your story. And this one is time. That says alternative history. That sounds like fun. The conflict is versus yourself. And the place is urban. And what was this one? The blue one? Oh, theme. Theme is identity. So that could make for a very interesting story. I've already got some ideas running through my mind about what could be going on there. Anyhow, if you don't know what to write, that might help. It reminds me about how I wrote my first novel. My very first novel, I'm getting a delivery out there. You can't see it, but there's a FedEx truck that just drove into my front yard, and I know what they're delivering. They're delivering cat food, which is really heavy, so if you hear a big thump, that's what it is. They're backing up to my porch now. Anyhow, moving on. When I wrote my first novel, I had no idea what I was going to write. All I knew was that I wanted to write a novel, and like NaNoWriMo started the next day. It was the very second NaNoWriMo that ever there was. And I wrote down index cards. I wrote down on index cards 4 different time periods. Like time periods could be now, 100 years ago, in the far distant past, in the future. And then I wrote 4 index cards with locations. Like I had my locations as being in the forest where I am now, being in Europe somewhere, being in the San Francisco Bay Area where I was born and raised, which I know very well. Or I don't know what the 4th one was. I had different places, and what I chose was the far distant past and the forest in which I now live. And that is what my first novel was based on. Fun. Good memories, and I do like that novel. It is not published. Long story there. I will explain it some other time. And so today I am going to tell you about the bear story that I wrote. I told you last week I was doing some of the prompts in this prompt book, Take 10 for Writers, and I was doing it with some other writers in my community. And I am going to read you the prompt that we had. Bear with me. But this is called Bear in Mind. You just turned 400 years old, hence the all-cap type and the fireman at your party. You can see there's a fireman there. An 18-year-old neighbor asks you to tell your favorite story from when you were her age. You tell her the tale about the bear, so you can scare her a bit. Pick a number between 1 and 10 and write it here. Flip the page to find your number. This is the starting phrase for your story. So I chose the number 3, and the starting phrase for my story, you see there's 10 different phrases it could be. Mine was, before Louis XVI was King of France and no one made jokes about letting everybody eat cake. And so I wrote this story. I had to stop and put the dice back in the little canister. Writing dice, just for fun, and I have a lot of other little writing game type things like that I will bring out some other time. This is a story that I wrote. It's called A Cake Delivery Girl's Bear Story. Before Louis XVI was King of France and no one made jokes about letting everyone eat cake, I worked as a cake delivery girl in Germany. All the cakes went to the wealthiest people of our city. Those of us in the working class could never afford cake. I thought I was lucky to work for the bakery where often I was given cake scraps. I'd carry them home in my pocket to my brothers and sisters. One day I had to make a delivery to a huge estate just outside town. The cake I carried was on a silver platter covered with a beautiful crystal lid. I was dressed as a young courtier in green velvet and golden brocade finery to take the cake to a rich young man who was having his 25th birthday. When I left the carriage, I passed through the portal of the estate and closed the heavy iron gate behind me when a huge bear came charging toward me. I was terrified and tried to run back out the gate, but it had fastened tight. Being as frightened as I was, I could not figure out how to open it. I knew the bear could smell the cake, but also knew that if I didn't deliver it intact to the young man, I'd be in terrible trouble and might even lose my job. I set the cake on the ground on its silver tray and managed to push it under the gate. The bear was almost upon me, but it was distracted by the scent of the cake and stopped to reach under the gate. Its paw hit the plate, pushing it even further away, so the cake was safe, but I was not. Then I remembered I had cake scraps in my pocket. I reached for a scrap and tossed it a few feet away. It worked. The bear rushed for that scrap and devoured it. That day, I fortunately had a lot of cake in my pocket and was able to treat the bear to lots of scraps. By this time, the young man was upon us and managed to quickly put a chain around the bear's neck and lead him away. I composed myself, figuring out how to open the gate, and retrieved the cake. When the young man returned, I was on his porch talking to his mother. He came toward us and bowed down in front of me. "You are the bravest and most beautiful lady I have ever seen," he said. "I must have you as my wife." "Oh, no," I said. "I'm just your cake delivery person, a servant." "What my son wants, my son gets," his mother said. In our city, for a girl of poor ancestry to marry a wealthy young man was unheard of. However, these crazy bear-owning people got their way, and so Jacob became my husband long, long ago. Then my brothers and sisters got as much cake as they wanted every day. The bear's name, by the way, was Dulce, which is the Spanish word for sweet. And that is my cake delivery girl's bear story. It has been preserved all these years on my website, lindajomartin.com. I have a few other flash fiction stories there as well. And so I think that's it for my Writing Wednesday video. If you're writing along with me, I hope that you will take time for writing sometime this week. And if you're a booktuber, why not make a Writing Wednesday video of your own? I'd love to see it. Until later,